Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I'm back with another super special video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing career indicators in the birth chart, which is by far one of the top requested topics that I get asked about as a professional astrologer from my clients and from my students. So many people are wondering how they can find happiness and a sense of purpose and meaning and success and even financial abundance, of course, through their career paths. And so, if that is you, or if you're working with clients who are seeking out those answers, then this video is for you. And today I have with me a very special guest, Alex Hunt, who is a professional astrologer and owner of Venus and Virgo Astrology. Welcome, Alex, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Heather. I'm so excited to be here and thank you for having me on board.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. And for those of you who don't know Alex, she is, like I said, a professional astrologer. She's also a graduate of the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, which is my astrology course. And she is one of our teaching assistants in the academy and in the cosmic community. And she is an absolutely brilliant astrologer. She has a brilliant mind for astrology, and she's a really incredible teacher. So you guys are definitely in for a treat with this presentation.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather. I'm so excited to share everything with everyone and to dive deeper.
Yeah. And so before we do dive deeper,
Yeah.
let's get to know you a little bit more. So, what is kind of your background in astrology? How did you come to even study astrology in the first place?
Yeah, definitely. So astrology has been something I've always been interested in ever since I was really, really little. I learned about what my sun sign was, Leo, of course. And then ever since then, I just really was just quite interested in about it. It come to 2015 where I decided to dig a little deeper. One of my friends sort of told me it was more than just your sun sign. And that kind of like blew my mind. And sort of ever since then, I've kind of gone on my own self-discovery and journey. And then it came to 2019 and 2020 where I started obviously watching your videos, Heather. And then I started learning a bit more and discovering more and decided I really want to study this for like properly and really get to know a lot more. So that's when I took Heather's astrology, Cosmic Academy of Astrology, and then knew that this was my career calling. And ever since then, I've sort of hit the ground running, and I'm so excited to be part of Heather's little team. But yeah, it's definitely something I knew that it was meant to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you did find astrology because you are very good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to pick your brain and get your insights on the career indicators in astrology and to share that with our audience. So, I'm going to actually share the presentation that you created so we can get into it.
Awesome. Perfect. So yes, definitely. So career indicators. This has been one of, as you just said, Heather, the top requested um, questions within a astrology reading. So this is something that I'm really excited to talk about, and I'm going to touch on a little bit what we're going to be covering today and go through it. And I've got a couple of examples so we can put everything that we cover together and sort of put it in like a practical sense.
Okay, wonderful. Awesome. And so, kind of before we get into that, what are some of the main questions that you find that you get from clients about their career paths?
Yeah, definitely. They want to know if that what they're doing is really, usually they're not feeling satisfied, they're not feeling fulfilled. They want to know sort of where they can best process and put their energy that is going to give them the best benefit, and where they can sort of look and sort of different areas of careers that they can look to move into, which is really important, and sort of understanding how the workplace will be best for them, how they can work best with their employees if they own their own business, and how they can really be seen and shine as the awesome person that they are within their career. So it's really important to sort of understand everything holistically. So that's sort of the main sort of questions that I get.
Yeah, and that requires a knowledge of a lot of different areas of astrology because it's everything from like natal astrology to predictions to
Yeah.
synastry for looking at relationships with employees and employers. That's also, like you said, a big one. So it does kind of meld together a lot of different areas. Yeah, so let's look at. Oh, let's look at that.
Awesome. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So yeah, this is what we're going to be covering today. The most requested topic, as Heather and I just talked about, is the career reading. So how this is identified, what the significations are and meanings behind the placements, and also how to identify this within your own chart so you can take away the information and practically apply it.
Oops.
Awesome. Perfect. Cool. So the table of contents. So these are what we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk a little bit about the general career indicators, what these placements are just really generally, and then we're going to go over the MCIC importance, which we'll touch on in the beginning anyway, which so you know what that is. Then we'll look at the MC and the signs, so you can sort of look at what this sort of plays out within the different signs, that so you can sort of see where that is placed in your chart and what that might look like. We'll then touch on the career houses and where these are in the chart, what they mean, so we can start putting it all together. And then we'll look at the career planets along with the North and South Node. Now this is a really interesting area as well, so we can all combine all of this together and apply it to a couple of charts that we've got.
All right, we're going to be digging into all sorts of stuff today. I'm excited.
Very exciting. So a little bit about me. So Heather's introduced me beautifully, but this is a little bit about me as well. So again, I'm the owner of Venus and Virgo Astrology. I'm a professional astrologer and qualified aromatherapist. So I completed my studies, like I said, through astrology with Heather's Cosmic Academy of Astrology in 2021. And now I'm one of Heather's teaching assistants within the Cosmic Academy of Astrology and Cosmic Community, which I'm absolutely loving. So you can find more of my work on all platforms, Venus and Virgo Astrology. So it's a little bit about me.
Yeah, awesome. So check out Venus and Virgo Astrology on Instagram or go to her website if you want to book a reading.
Yay. Awesome. So let's get into it. So these are the top 10 placements that I look to and that we look to for looking for career within the birth chart. So like I was talking about, the MC/IC line and the planetary rulers of that. So what is the MC/IC? So we're going to cover that a little bit deeper in a bit, but this is indicated through, as we can see in this chart where it says MC, this is indicative of the career line. So this really indicates what the career will show up as, what sign that's in, what that will look like within your life, and how you can sort of see that. And we'll touch on the what that means through the signs in a bit, but this is sort of the main indicator for us to look at when we look at a chart. This is in combination with the 10th house, along with the 10th house planetary ruler, just like the MC line and the MC line's planetary ruler. So we want to look at this. The MC is not always in the 10th house, and we'll cover that in a little bit, what that might mean too. But the planetary ruler of the 10th house and the 10th house in general will give us a really good indication of what the career will look like, what that will play out like, and where that planetary ruler is in the chart will give us a lot more layers as to what that career will look like in your life. And then we want to look at the ascendant and this in the chart ruler and its house placement. So the ascendant is by far one of the most important placements in the birth chart. This is where it says AC in this picture here. So this is your ascendant line, and we'll cover what this means as well. But this in the chart ruler, so this is the planet that rules this sign. So for this chart in particular, this is the moon. As we can see, the moon is in the 10th house. So for this person, and we'll touch on how that covers it and how that all links in a bit, but just to quickly touch on it, we can see that the moon in the 10th house shows us that this person's career is very tied in with their sense of identity and who they portray themselves in the world and how they are perceived by others. Their career is very much linked in with their personality and who they are. And the sun sign
ruler
is
of the 10th house in midheaven in the first house too. Like, but it's there's mutual reception there too.
Absolutely, which is so important as well. And this is really prominent in this chart. And we'll dive deeper into this chart too, because I think it's really interesting who this chart is actually, and it just shows it's incredible. And so the sun sign and house placement, this is really important. As we know, our sun sign is our true essence. It's who we are. We really want to see this play out in the career because this is who we are in our personality. This needs to be, it's not a huge indicator of the career specifically, but we need to be able to express ourselves in our career that feels aligned with who we are deep down. So it's really important to see how the sun sign plays out within the career in general. So the moon, Venus, and Jupiter, these are also really important, and we'll touch on how this all links in a bit. But the moon, that's our emotion, that's how we, process, that's our inner world. So we need to be seen and recognized and have our emotions met and our emotional needs met within a career so we feel really, really satisfied. Venus, that's indicative of finances, of where that's placed in the chart. We can see where that might be the most beneficial for us. It's one of the most benefic planets in the chart. Along with Jupiter, this one I personally put in because I find it quite interesting where this is located. This can show us where the luck and fortune and expansion within potentially our career, how that links in. And with this chart specifically, Jupiter is right on that career line. So their career is super important and just really expansive for them. They're going to have a lot of luck and fortune come through that, and you can kind of see that play out in their life. Along with the second and eighth house, so this is our finances house. So the second house is our finances, our material possessions, and we're going to go into the houses in general in a bit. But when I look to the second and eighth house is other people's money. So how this all links in terms of our career. And the sixth house and the planetary ruler of the sixth house can show us our career environment. It can show us our co-workers, our subordinates. It can show us our work and daily routines. So this is really important to look at in terms of how this plays into the career as a whole, along with the fifth house and the fifth house planetary ruler. This is our creativity, our joy, how we express ourselves in a creative sense. It's also really important to see how that links in with our career so we can feel lit up creatively. And then the north and south nodes. So these are more of a deeper undercurrent of our soul's purpose. They don't necessarily have to be fully linked into the career, but it can give us a bit of an indication if we want to tie in that into the career to give us a really deep sense of purpose within our career. So that's really interesting as well to look at. And along with that, a lot of fortune, house, and sign placement. So this shows us where we can receive really physical fortune within this lifetime. It can show us our physical body and how this also plays out within the chart, and how we might be areas in life that come easily to us, or we might find that we have fortune come through that way. And that is in the ninth house for this person in their chart.
So kind of looking at all this is a lot of stuff and a very
A lot.
holistic overview of
Yeah.
everything you would want to look at if you were doing like a full on reading and you wanted to give a lot of detail. But let's
Yeah.
kind of bring it back down to like a foundational level for our viewers who are maybe more beginners or who don't have as much experience. What would be the top three things that you would look at if you could only look at three things? If you had to give a reading just based on three placements for career, which three placements out of this list would you choose?
Definitely. So it'd absolutely be the Ascendant in chart ruler where this is located. The MC line is a really, really important placement. And along with the 10th house and the 10th house ruler, those for me would be the top three that I would look at in terms of how the career looks in the birth chart. An additional one would be the sun sign, of course, but that would be the top three.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree. Those you could give a good astrology reading for someone's career just looking at those three components. And you could probably talk about just those three for like at least an hour or two.
Oh, definitely, definitely. This is definitely like very much a holistic view of every single sort of what
Yeah.
I'd look at, but very, very in detail. But definitely those top three would just give you a really pretty clear and very accurate indication of what the career would look like.
All right. Well, awesome. So let's move on to the midheaven and IC.
Awesome, perfect. So this was the line that we were talking about in the previous slide. So I'll just quickly touch on what this is. So the midheaven MC medium cola, which is roughly translates to the middle of the sky. So it's not a planet or an asteroid. It's one of the four main angles in the birth chart, and it's a concentrated point of energy, and it represents the highest point in our chart when we're born. And it represents our higher aspirations, our sense of responsibility and longer term goals. It also describes our most externally visible achievements, which is why it sort of indicates to career, what we leave, our public reputation, our achievements, along with our authority. It is our material accomplishments. and what we hold of great importance, an overall sense of responsibility and where we fit in within society. And like we were saying, it's normally located in the 10th house. However, depending on the birth location, it can be in the 9th, 11th, 12th, 8th, and sometimes the 7th house. And where the difficulty comes in when it is a little bit challenging when the MC is out of the 10th house is merging that career and recognition of what you're doing within your life. So if, for example, if you've got the MC in the 9th house, you might be doing a career that feels really important to you, that feels really aligned with what you want to be doing, but you're not necessarily receiving the acknowledgement and public reputation and praise for the career that you're doing that you might have had with a career in the 10th house. So it's merging those two energies. And then again, on the flip side, you might be doing a career that you're really recognized for, that you're really getting a lot of attention for, they're getting a lot of praise for, but it doesn't feel aligned. So it's really important to find that happy middle ground wherever your MC might lie in your chart. And then on the flip side, yeah.
Oh, and I just wanted to mention for those of you who have your midheaven in a house other than the 10th house, I have actually a video that I created for that where it goes through the midheaven in each of those different houses. And so you can find that floating around somewhere up here, and I'll post that at the end as well.
Yes, it's very, very good to sort of see how that plays out in your chart too. I really like that video, Heather. Awesome. And then so the IC, that is the opposite of the MC. So it's not a planet or an asteroid again, it's one of the four main angles, and it represents the concentrated point of energy that is the lowest point in the sun where the sun is, and there's a diagonal wheel. So it represents our roots. It is the least visible achievements to the outside world. It's where we look to understand the foundation of our happiness, our private world, our sense of security, and we feel like we belong, our home environment, and we might do our best work that contributes to our MC. It also indicates our early childhood experiences and how these might manifest for us later in life. So again, it's usually in the 4th house. However, depending on the birth location, it can vary between the 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and more rarely the 1st. So again, like the MC, when it is located outside of the 4th house, again, it's merging the energies of the house where it is. So for example, if it was in the 5th house, your MC in the 11th, IC in the 5th, this would indicate that maybe the childhood had a lot of hobbies, or you had a lot of fun experiences within your childhood that really stand out to you, that really help create that foundation as to how you are in the world and how you show up in terms of your career. That gives you that really foundational sense. And I've got a really great example of this in the charts we'll look at. So this will form a really strong importance over the 4th house topics and the representations for you in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the midheaven in the signs. And as a fun game, as we're going through this, you guys post in the comment section below what your midheaven sign is, and also the sign that occupies your 10th house and what your career actually is. I'm super curious to see, but continue on.
Oh no, I'm curious to see too. It's so interesting to see how it all plays out. And again, like what we've mentioned here for the signs is not a solid, it has to be this your career. It's really interesting how it actually plays out in the energy. And when we look at the two charts, their MC rollers, it's really interesting how this actually physically plays out. So this is just a general indicative baseline really for what it could be. So we'll go into, I've done them by element, so we can look at the earth, air, fire, and water, so we can have a look at those, and I'll quickly touch on what they will be. So firstly, we have Taurus. So there's fixed energy ruled by Venus, so careers that involve finding the beauty, creating the beauty within the environment, and they work best with a practical work environment where you can possibly use your hands, very grounded, maybe working in nature, within the culinary industry, because Venus, food, and Taurus is very a foodie sign, or within the financial industry, it could be really beneficial as well. The work environment for an MC line in Taurus would probably be want to have a very stable environment, very consistent work, and with a grounded routine that will help you thrive. In a slower pace work, maybe a little bit more relaxing environment where you can take your time and create quality work. Then the next sign is Virgo. So this is mutable energy ruled by Mercury. So careers that involve critical thinking with a strong attention to detail, work that is maybe health orientated or within the wellness industry, especially healing others could be a really important part of your career, or providing a healing service, working within agriculture or with animals, or even in the cleaning service industry is really indicative of an MC in Virgo. Hardworking, this sign is quite very hardworking, perfection orientated, and it makes great support workers within an organization or a team environment. And then the next earth sign, the last earth sign we have is Capricorn. So this is a cardinal energy ruled by Saturn. So careers that require a lot of drive, structure. So I think CEO, entrepreneur type energy, working within construction possibly, or corporations or the military or police force. Roles that have a natural air of authority will work well for this placement. A very practical and realistic working environment. They're grounded, but a little bit pessimistic sometimes, possibly, but also a very natural high achiever. You like to follow the rules and you work well within a solitary environment will be quite beneficial for you in your workplace.
Yeah, this is awesome. And I just want to make note for people too that these planets that rule these signs, if they are aligned with your midheaven, like in a conjunction, or if they're in your 10th house, all of this could apply to you as well. So it's not just the sign that the midheaven's in. Like if you have Mercury in your 10th house or Mercury in a conjunction with your midheaven, a lot of this energy of Virgo, and also when we get into Gemini, that will apply to you as well.
Definitely. The chart ruler of that is so important. The ruler of that sign is so important. So now moving on to the air signs, we have Gemini, which is mutable, ruled by Mercury. So careers involving working within communication, marketing, teaching, especially early childhood teaching, or working within the travel industry in a role that requires a lot of connection with others. So this is very much a jack of all trades type energy. You might not like a career that's sort of boxed in. You probably need to feel about and feel what feels right for you. You might have lots of different careers within your lifetime. This is the sort of energy that Gemini MC have. And then moving on to Libra. So this is cardinal ruled by Venus. Again, like Taurus, careers involve that are working within beauty or creating beauty within the environment, but also careers that involve working in harmony with others, potentially within the justice system, involving mediation of some sort, and a career where they can express themselves and bring out the beauty in others in places that maybe aren't as sort of obvious straight away. Requires a sense of balance, of course, for Libra, we like a lot of balance in the working environment, and a clear understanding of the role and expectations will really help when making decisions. So when you know exactly what you need to be doing, that will really help. And then moving on to Aquarius. So this is fixed energy. It's ruled by Saturn traditionally, and then Uranus with the modern ruler. So careers that are unique and allow yourself to sort of explore the unknown or unusual. Work that potentially involves science, space, or even astrology studies or teaching. Alternatively, working for a non-for-profit or progressive humanitarian pursuits as well. And again, out of the box thinkers like to push the boundaries. You like a role that you can explore new ways of doing things. You're not confined, and you're able to express your eccentric perspectives with everyone. So that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that description of Aquarius midheaven people needing to explore the unknown.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
That's
important.
very accurate. Is that your midheaven?
No, mine is Virgo.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yes, yes. But I have an Aquarius moon, so I very much relate to the Aquarius for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the fire signs. Fire sign people in their work
Yes.
tend to be quite intense.
Very intense and very passionate, very much like they know what they want and they're going after it. And the two examples that I have both have the MC and Aries, but they play out very differently. So this is what's really interesting to see how having an MC in the same sign doesn't necessarily, there's so many other factors that play into how this might actually present physically in your life. So with Aries, cardinal energy ruled by Mars, careers that involve a lot of force, potentially military, combat roles, bodyguards, police, working within a career that is very self-driven, and you can harness that energy to produce productive, physical, tangible results is really important. And a career that's very physically demanding or requires a lot of physical effort will be beneficial, and very much that entrepreneur energy as well, and providing motivation to a team, also really important, or in a leadership role of themselves is quite important, working for themselves, very much that MC in Aries. And then Leo, so fixed energy ruled by the sun, careers that involve their presence being the center stage. You see a lot of performers or politicians with this type of placement, coaches, or even working with children, because Leo in the 5th house is very much children, like in the sun, a role where they are able to be a leader or share the enthusiasm and passion with others. As this is a very passionate placement, the individual will require a role that allows them to lean into their drive and passion, again, motivating a team or leading their own business. Like we're saying, the fire energy is very passionate and very driven. And then again, Sagittarius, mutable, ruled by Jupiter. So careers involving travel, of course, working within foreign countries or with different cultures. Alternatively, a career that allows you to pursue higher studies, or even potentially teaching higher studies, such as university level, or publishing the studies that you've done on your journey, along with a career that involves spiritual or religious or legal matters, could be really important. Very optimistic outlook. So a career that you feel free to move about. You don't feel boxed in, again, like that Gemini energy, where you can explore and assist others in some way, and that will be really beneficial for you in your career.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. And then the water signs, these ones tend to be a little interesting in their career choices and career paths. I feel like it's a little bit harder for people who have like water sign midheavens in a lot of ways, unless they have something really strong, like a strong earth like energy, or if they have
Mhm.
maybe like a Saturn placement or something that's like more grounding.
Yes.
It can be a little hard to like really hone in on what you want to do.
Yeah. And have the confidence as well. I find with a lot of the water signs, having that
Mhm.
confidence to pursue and share the talents that you might have, but it might be like you want to hide this away. It's kind of feels a bit too private to share sometimes. And that definitely, especially with that Pisces energy, I do find a lot of Pisces MC lines, it can be a little bit tricky to sort of narrow down where you want to go. But yeah, water signs, super creative, super intuitive. So Cancer, this is a cardinal energy, again ruled by the moon. So careers that involve nurturing others, it makes for great caregivers, working within possibly like selling homes, the real estate industry, or working from home. Alternatively, this could also indicate working with women, working in the fertility sort of industry, or studies or care, or working within the culinary field as well. It can involve working with food. So very creative, again, very intuitive. This placement needs an environment where they can have a sense of routine, yet you can tune into your emotional needs, and really working with others and providing that gentle, caring energy to your workplace will be really important. Now with Scorpio, this is a fixed sign ruled by Mars traditionally, and Pluto is the modern ruler. So careers that involve exploring the taboo or secretive parts of society. So really great detectives, researchers, psychologists, or any role that involves dealing potentially with the death industry would make a great career pathways for this placement. Alternatively, a career within the adult industry or healing realm, or working with taxes and investments could be a really interesting part of your career pathway. And very intense, strong inner drive, have that Mars energy there. And this placement thrives in a role that is dealing with change and transformation in all aspects. That's where that Pluto energy comes through. They like to go deep and may find themselves exploring many different roles again within their lifetime, where it feels right and where that career progression progression feels that it's moving for you. With Pisces, like we we're just talking about, is the mutable energy ruled by Jupiter traditionally, and Neptune is the modern ruler. So careers that allow the individual to tap into your creativity and imagination. You can be your creative self. You can go with the flow a bit. They can work in a role where there's inspiring others or providing a service at some level. A career within the spiritual realm or religious world, an environment that potentially isn't as obvious to the outside world, such as in a hospital or ashram or a brothel even. They may even be drawn to working with the ocean, like physically ocean work, or within the winery industry, or working within the dream realm. So a career where you can combine your compassion, creativity, imagination is really, really key for this placement. And you thrive with helping others and the collective as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know down below if any of this resonates for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. So like I was just saying, this is our first example chart. So this was the one we were looking at before with all the career indicators. It's Travis Barker. And I find his chart so interesting. It's really, really, and we'll dive deeper into how all the placements show up and sort of form everything together. But as a main indicator, we have the MC in Aries in the 10th house. Travis Barker, if you're not sure who this is, he is a very, very famous drummer from a pop punk band called Blink-182. He's also had a lot of different careers in his lifetime, but he's best and most well known for his insane talent on drums. He's really, really talented, and his job is very physical. So his MC in Aries really plays out through this way. He also, like Heather mentioned earlier, his Ascendant is in Cancer. His Cancer, the house ruler, his ascendant ruler is the moon. So this is in the 10th house, but also the MC ruler is Mars, and that's in his first house. So we have that mutual reception going on. And he's very well known for his career. It is a very big part of his life. We also have the Psycho-Sand chart ruler in the 10th house, and his IC is the 4th house with Venus, which is the that house ruler.
All right.
And this is perfect. So this is someone that I know personally. They own their own fashion label. They are a seamstress. They make incredibly detailed and sort of alternative clothing and lingerie and accessories, and they also have their MC in Aries. So this shows in a very different way than being a physical playing drums or being a leader or in a combat sort of role. It's very much and sort of very differently. So they have their 10th house in Pisces, but their MC in the 11th house. So it's merging those two energies of having a very creative, very her work is very inspired by a lot of spiritual or occult type, and we can see a lot of 8th house energy there, but we'll go into that a bit more detail. But her work is very much merging those two 10th and 11th house energies. So MC in Aries in the 11th house. Her MC ruler, which is Mars, is in the 7th house of Sagittarius, and her chart ruler Mercury, because she's a Gemini ascendant, is in the 8th house. She's also got her 5th IC is in the 5th house, and the ruler of this again is Venus, and that is in the 9th house. So merging all those type of energies, and we'll get into that in a bit as well.
Awesome.
Awesome. So these are the career houses. So I'll quickly touch on all of these and what they sort of look like within the chart. So again, the first house, which is where we usually find our ascendant, in whole sign houses specifically. So this is the house of self, our physical body, our personality, our outlook on life, life themes, and how we express ourselves and navigate our reality. And then the second house, the house of money, material possessions, values and skills we possess, earning ability, as well as assets and how we utilize our resources. And then the 5th house, like we touched on earlier, the house of joy, creativity, play, self-expression, romantic connection, and also it is the house of children as well. And then we have the 6th house, which is where we look to see our daily work routine, our co-workers, our employees or subordinates. And it's also where we can see our health, nutrition, and animals as well. And then I did put in the 7th house because I do think this is a bit of an important house to look at in terms of if we're doing one-to-one work, or if our MC line is in a career that might be working more on one-on-one work. So this is the house of contractual agreements, relationships, and also the house of marriage and negotiations and public enemies. And then we look at the 8th house because this is opposite our 2nd house. It is the house of other people's money, our debt, our taxes. It also is the house of all the taboo subjects within society, death, rebirth, everything like that is shown within the 8th house. And then, of course, we have our 10th house, the main sort of house we look at for career. So this is the house of career, public reputation, the legacy we leave the world, our status, and how we take our power and our status, and how we shine that in our public sense.
There we go.
Perfect. So these are the career planets within the birth chart. So like we looked at before, the sun is our vitality, it's our energy, it's our essence. We want to look at this to see where we're going to be seen in a workplace that is able, we're able to express that we're able to be seen and recognized for that inner essence that we have. The moon, this is our emotional world. How can we feel emotionally fulfilled within a workplace? We can look at where this is placed, where the chart ruler for this placement that it is placed. All of these sort of things really tie into the career, especially how we feel emotionally fulfilled is really, really important. The Venus placement, which is obviously our finances, our partnerships, but it's also really indicative of where we will sort of find finances come through easily, or where it is really beneficial for us with regarding career and finances and income and things like that. And then Jupiter is where we might find luck, prosperity. It is a very lucky placement where we find expansion, where we might be able to use this in terms of our career. And then I have did a special mention to Mercury and Mars, because Mercury is how we communicate, how we express ourselves. This is really important within a career where we're able to use our voice or use how we communicate and how our mind works within what type of career that we might be doing. And then Mars. This is our passion, our drive. It is a malefic planet within the birth chart, but looking at it in terms of career, it gives us our drive, our passion. Yes. And then touching on the ascendant and the chart ruler, as we know, the ascendant and chart ruler is really, really important in looking at, if we're looking at those 3 main placements, that's what we want to be looking at. So ascendant is an angle like the MC and IC based on where the sun was rising and meeting the sky when we're born. So again, one of the most important angles in our birth chart is the outward version of yourself, and the version that others meet first. So that rules our identity, our appearance, and who we grow into over our lifetime. And in relation to career, this is how we show up to the public, and the mask we potentially wear to the world and the outer world when we are in our career. And then the chart ruler of that sign. So whatever sign your ascendant is in, this has a planet that rules over it, and that planet then becomes your chart ruler. So for example, Aries, this like we're looking at, this would be Mars, whereas Leo, this would be the sun. And then we always look to the traditional ruler of the sign, just as a little side note there. So the planet and its placement is very crucial in providing deeper insight into who we are and who we're here to be. So the chart, the house and sign, it's all right. So the house and sign where this is located will have a big impact in how it manifests into our reality. And then the chart ruler, it also shows us areas in life like we were looking at that where we're like known for. So for example, in the first chart is known for his career. So it's really important, especially in terms of the career and the career placements. And then finally, the North and South node. So again, these are important within the birth chart. The North node, it is their calculations. So basically what they are, they're not planets specific, they're like the calculations that predict the annual eclipses. So they help track and predict where they will be in the chart. So how in astrology, the nodes represent areas of destiny, karmic fate, and life lessons. So we call them the North and South node in tropical astrology. So they're not directly related to our career or life purpose. When they do represent more of a deeper undercurrent of our soul's purpose within this lifetime. Like I was saying, we can choose to combine this within our career, or we might just work on this as a separate part of our existence. But by doing so and relating this and interpreting this into your career will likely give a very deep sense of responsibility, and that you are really working towards something that's really important for you in this lifetime. So the North Node, this is an area that might feel not so easy to sort of work towards. It's new and uncharted territory. Might feel a little bit scary. It's not a familiar or comfortable feeling. So this area in your chart might not come as easily or quickly to you. It takes a little bit of time, effort, and work and trust. Whereas the South Node, this is where we feel really comfortable. We've already mastered this in a previous lifetime. We just need to let go and surrender towards the North Node, but we do come back here when we are feeling a little bit unsure. It comes easy to us. We feel comfortable. It does give us strength to explore the North Node. So that's where the North and South Node come in. So it is important to sort of look at that and where that is placed in your chart and how that might be able to relate in towards your career. Awesome. So let's have a little look at Travis Barker's chart and sort of put together where we've sort of picked up areas that just talked about. So as we can see, his ascendant is in Cancer. This ruler is the moon. So this is located in the 10th house. Now in the 10th house, we have his MC, we have Jupiter, and then we also have the MC ruler in the first house. So again, the career is really important to this individual. This is how they show up in the world. People know them through their career. The career in Aries is very physical, very driven. He's very much an entrepreneur energy. He's very, very passionate about his career, and this is definitely something he's very, very well known for, and he's very, very good at. He also has his sun in Scorpio, along with his North Node, but the sun in Scorpio, he needs a career in the 5th house that he's able to express himself creatively. He's able to show his creativity through his work, and a work that allows him to explore that and maybe explore areas that are necessarily more maybe taboo in a way. He's able to sort of research that and look into that and sort of express that. He does sort of have within his lifetime is his music in general is kind of pushes the boundaries in a way as well. So he's also got the Mercury, like we're talking about, how he communicates and expresses himself in Scorpio. So a way that he expresses himself is through his creativity. He's able to sort of share that with others, and that will really help him also incorporate his North Node energy there as well. He's got his IC in Libra. So this is also where Venus is. So his career likely involves a lot of, he tended to work very close to home. So within his career, he did like to work in travel and things like that, but the career is definitely more home-based because of sort of his fear of flying and his incident with his plane crash. He'd had a very, very dramatic and very intense plane crash, which really hindered him in a lot of areas in his life, and it was a big transformation in his life. So from that, his work definitely involved a lot more home, a lot more centered around his family. He's definitely had a career that has been very like home-based, but also very international at the same time. So he has his Mars in Cancer again, as we were saying. It really relates to his career within his very driven, very passionate, very much known for himself in his career rather than being a part of something. He's very much a person within something. He's very much himself, his physical self. And there's a lot of fortune in Pisces. So international foreign relations, working overseas as well. So very much known through his creativity overseas. He's a worldwide known artist. So he's very, very creative. So he's very known worldwide. So that's very important, where a lot of luck and fortune might come through that. He also has the modern ruler of his 9th house in the 6th house in Sagittarius, which indicates that he has a career that's very expansive. His work is very expansive. It maybe isn't so structured or routine. He needs a career that sort of allows him to explore the different not so structured routine, like a daily routine in an office wouldn't necessarily work well for him. He needs a career that allows him to sort of express himself and his creativity. So that's sort of what I can pick up from his chart, which you sort of see for his life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then your friend Nicole.
Yes. So Nicole, again, we have the MC in the 11th house. So she is very much in Aries. So she's very driven, very works, like really enjoys working on her own. She's grown her brand from the ground up. Her chart, her MC ruler is in the 7th house. She very much works closely with her clients on a one-to-one level, and very much works with overseas clients, international clients. Her ascendant in Gemini and her ascendant ruler is in the 8th house. She's very, very Capricorn in her energy. She's very much the entrepreneurial energy. She incorporates a lot of 8th house sort of themes within her work. She very much works, the work she produces is very much could be seen as like incorporating a lot of spiritual elements to her career and her work, especially with that 10th house in Pisces. She's very, very driven, very creative, and merging those two energies of that creativeness, working for herself, feeling free to express herself through her work is really, really important, and it's really helped her be seen and recognized for the talents that she has. And with the moon, it is in the 6th house. So her daily routines tend to be quite important to have structure and routine, but also allows her to explore her creativity and her feel really emotionally connected to her work. It's very much she's sharing a piece of herself through her work as well. It's really expressed really beautifully through the work that she does. And with the Venus in Aquarius, it's in the 9th house. So it indicates to me that the income and the connections with others will be really beneficial for her career. A lot of her clients are from overseas and online. So Aquarius rules a lot of internet, online sort of connections, community, things like that. Her community is really important for her with her work, and that sort of helped her be seen and recognized for the work that she does. But again, having an MC in Aries, she's not physically playing drums or physically in a career that's very combat sort of focused. She's very much working with her body, very working with herself. She's using a lot of sharp objects, which is very Mars orientated, to create the work that she does. But it has been challenging sort of following her passion and drive, but also being seen and recognized for this talent and skill has taken a while to build up and build momentum. Whereas in relation to the other chart, where he was very much sort of blew up quite quickly with his career, where it has taken a little bit longer to sort of be seen and recognized for the talent and skills that she has. And that is just specific with her chart as well. And she also has her lot of fortune in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. And we have Venus in the 9th with that really strong connection with community, connection with overseas clients. That is where a lot of her income has come. It's not necessarily been really visible straight away, but that has built up over time, and has been really beneficial. It isn't really beneficial for her career, and with her sun in the 8th house in Capricorn, having a career where she's able to explore the more sort of unseen sort of parts of society, more like alternative. She is very much an alternative designer, so her work is very much alternative based, and it is actually featured in a lot of photography and film work. So very much that 10th house energy of that Piscean work is very combined with her work as well. So you can kind of see how all those little bits fit together into the puzzle that is both of those career pathways.
Yeah, that was a wonderful interpretation. Thank you for sharing all of that. And
Oh,
it
thank you,
looks like we're
Gita.
done
Thank
here.
you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. And you guys, if you want to learn astrology from me and from Alex and our other teaching assistants over in the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, our waitlist is down in the description below. We're opening enrollment for the next period in January for only waitlist people, and waitlist people will get extra discounts. And even if you don't want to join the academy, you're going to get all sorts of free stuff. We're going to do free webinars. We're going to share a lot of informational content in January. So make sure you join that waitlist. And if you're more of an intermediate astrologer, definitely consider checking out the Cosmic Community, which Alex also helps do teaching assistant tasks and provide support and answers to questions from our students there, because that's our continuing education community. And we have a super in-depth webinar about career placements in astrology that takes you all the way from beginning interpretations all the way to advanced types of techniques for determining career. And so, so remind us again, Alex, where we can find you if somebody wants to get a reading.
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on all platforms, Venus and Virgo Astrology, or you can head to my website, www.venusandvirgoastrology.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for being here and for doing this with us. And hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I've loved it. Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.